Hi, dreamers. Week after week on YouTube, I try to give you the best of what I'm thinking, feeling, and experiencing as a dividend investor who's essentially financially independent way before the age of 50. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I've been living partially off dividends while also continuing to supplement my income last year. But that 2024 is really the first year that I've been living 100% off of my dividend income. So today I thought I'd give you the best of what I've learned so far from living off of dividends 100%. But before we get there, I just wanted to take a moment to thank you all because this week I actually exceeded 9,000 subscribers. And I just can't thank you enough for spending every week with me and all the positive feedback that you give to me. In addition, I have over 18,000 followers on X. And one of the things I asked recently was, what should I do to celebrate when I go over 9,000? And some of the responses included, Ryan said, let us know what is and repost your favorite video. And then Finn says, a video of what you learned from video 1 to the latest. And then Vibhanshu said, how about a video on what you learned from the 9,000? And then of course there were lots of other ideas like, why don't you show us your eyes? Maybe when I get to 10,000. Well, in terms of what I learned, I would say a couple of things. One is pick a topic you absolutely love. Because as you can see, I've done over 200 videos on the subject of personal finance and investing. And it just happens to be a passion of mine. So I never really run out of topics or the desire to simply talk about it. The other thing I would say is embrace your flaws. One of the things I tried to do desperately when I started this channel was to disguise my voice using AI. And quite frankly, it sounded awful. But I was really subconscious about my voice, knowing that it's fairly unique and a little bit low for a female. But even so, my voice has apparently become quite a signature that most of you really like. So it is what it is. Alright, how about what are some of my favorite videos? Well, my favorite playlist is How I Reached My Financial Freedom in My 40s. I put a lot of effort into this about a year ago when I kept getting the question, okay, Dream, you have a significant portfolio, but how does that help me when I'm at the beginning of my journey and I don't have the capital to use? And so this series took me weeks and weeks to develop and is one I'm really proud of and essentially lays out exactly how I got the capital in the first place. Another couple videos that I really like are How to Pick Stocks, my live trades video, where I show exactly how I'm selling covered calls and cash secured puts. And then this one down here, this little known secret, early retirement planning sheet, is one of my favorite videos I've ever created. So if you haven't seen any of those, check them out. And then something that I've learned from my 9,000 audience, well, let me show you something. So I originally created this channel hoping that I would reach a female audience because, as you know, I'm super passionate about passing this on and helping other women and folks who don't have access to financial information. But take a look at the age and gender. 95% of my audience is male and only 4% is female. And also it tends to skew 35 to 64, when I guess people are most aware that they really need to start thinking about retirement. And so I'll continue to think of strategies to reach this female and younger audience. But the learning here is sometimes it's hard to attract the audience that you're seeking out. And on that note, if you know anyone who's at the beginning of their journey of investing, please feel free to share my channel with them, because chances are, if you found it helpful, they will too. And the last thing I wanted to say just about this playlist, which is all about my personal story, is that if you're new to my channel, here's the net on what you need to know about me. I'm a woman in her late 40s, and I used to be a marketing and corporate strategist. I've been married in the past, now divorced, and I've been investing for about 20 years. I've done everything from investing in mutual funds, individual stocks, ETFs, bonds, CDs, and real estate. And I've learned a lot about how things are taxed, what's easier or more difficult to monitor, and what style or risk level of investing really fits me best. So that's the purpose for this channel, is to try to pass all that knowledge on to you in a form of entertainment that can be useful. All right, enough about all that. let's get to what I learned from living off of my investment income fully this year. All right, for this section, I thought I'd show you a live view of my actual Fidelity account. And this is something I don't normally do because it's really hard to hide all of those account numbers all the time. But what I wanted to show you was just the taxable account that's kicking off dividends. And so you can see here, I've got a huge position in JetQ, which is generating about $19,000 a year. And then you see I have SPY, PTY, BTI, Devo, QQQI, Realty Income, etc. And you can also see the yields, and if I sort based on that, you'll see this new position in PDI generating about 14%, followed by SPYI, PTY, and a new position in XDTE, which I just covered in a recent video. And so if I scroll down to the end of this list just a little bit, you can see a total of $726,000 generating $58,873. So that's about $59,000 in dividends. And I'm really not doing options in this account. You can see the rogue call that I've got here set way above that's about to expire. So what I'm trying to do is essentially live off of this income as the core foundation. But as you know, my expenses are about $100,000, and so this is only about 60% of what I need. So a couple of things that I've learned. One is I'm really trying to live off of less and constrict where I possibly can. And so the learning I would say about that is make sure that your expenses, when you decide to do this, are stable and hopefully mostly paid off. For me, that means I have one home and it's a 30-year fixed rate of 2.875. And really the main variable cost is taxes every year. The next learning I have is that I continue to seek ways to make some level of income in order to help supplement my dividend income. And so as you know, I have another taxable account with about $200,000 in that. And that's where I'm generating my options, with the goal of generating enough to cover all of my expenses. And I continue to take courses and up my strategies there. A third learning is that I have had some unforeseen expenses, and really one-time expenses. So definitely have a cushion somewhere in your financial model so that you don't have to disrupt any of the cash flow systems that you have in place. Another thing I would say is obviously inflation is a concern over time. And so it's really important that you build that into your model, especially if you're retiring very young like I am. And I would consider that anything sub 50 years old. You also might want to have other emergency levers that you could pull if necessary. For example, another property you could sell, Social Security about to turn on, and maybe even ways to monetize other assets that you have, which could include your car or even maybe parts of your home, if you could rent out parts of it. And another emergency lever that I have, if say I can't survive on that $59,000 plus my options, is that I always could downsize my home or start that 72T from my IRA, which is that little known secret video that I pointed out earlier. A few more things that I've learned by doing this is that it is really nice not having to sell and time the market in any way, shape, or form. Because as you know, in the last couple of months, we've been way up and way down. And I just don't have to worry about that at all. The other thing I learned is that it's actually really nice having monthlies. And so you can see that with my JEPQ, SPY-I, PTY, Devo, QQQI, Realty Income. These are all monthly payers, in addition to the PDI and GPIX. And of course, that recent QDTE is a weekly payer. So that's definitely something I've realized living off of dividends, is that actually having that regular drumbeat every single month gives me a level of consistency that makes a lot of sense. And the last thing I would say is just, I do like having broader ETFs and broader financial instruments in this account instead of individual stocks. So you can see some of the legacy stocks I've had for a very long time listed, like Canadian Imperial Bank, Fortis, Duke Energy, BNS, Sunoco, and BTI. But what I might do is just really take this 725 and make it purely the high yield income generating monthly broad-based ETFs. And that would allow me to focus my individual picks and my option strategies in my other accounts, while not having to worry too much about this one. So those are some of the learnings I've had off of living off of these dividends 100% in 2024. And I hope that's helpful for you as you start to think about and envision what it might look like for these dividends to meaningfully start to supplement your income, or maybe even fully replace them altogether. Let me know what you think in the comments. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this dividend income update. And if you want a richer, real-time experience with me, you can always follow me on Instagram or X. And if you're doing your own research using Seeking Alpha, feel free to find the link below to subscribe if you want, no pressure. As always, I encourage you to do your own research, then implement and learn by putting it into practice. And as a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor, so keep in mind these videos are for entertainment and inspiration only. I'll see you on the flip side.